It starts with the sound, a ragged, mosquito-buzzing snarl over the city at 2 AM, drifting in from the horizon like a bad idea with a propeller. That's a Shahed. Cheap, numerous and mean, it comes in flocks, nosing for power plants and apartment blocks while the sirens argue with the night. For 2 years, Ukraine met these swarms with everything from fighter jets to shotguns on pickup trucks. Effective, yes, but about as elegant as fighting a rainstorm with buckets. Then something new appeared in the dark. Small, fast and hungry. Interceptor drones, built to hunt drones, rose up like greyhounds after a hare. And now, thanks to a new UK-Ukrainian production pact, they're not just rising, they're multiplying. Here's the headline behind the buzz. London and Kyiv have moved from experiments and field hacks to an industrial plan. Joint production of interceptor drones, scaled for a war that happens every night. The target is eye-opening. Roughly 2,000 interceptors every month, a pipeline of attrition built to outfly, outclimb and outlast Russia's Shahed swarms. British officials say the platform that inspired this push has already proven it can chase down one-way attack drones and end the flight with a violent, decisive rendezvous. In a war where minutes matter and pennies must beat rubles, that scale is the point. The codename for this ramp-up is as memorable as a god from the deep, Project OCTOPUS. It's not a missile, a gun, or a jam-only gadget. It's an agile, dedicated interceptor drone designed to launch fast, sprint hard, and physically kill an incoming UAV before the Shahed can dive into a transformer yard or slam a dormitory. The UK spotlighted it at DSEI in London with a simple promise that this isn't a science fair model. It's a combat-proven tool that's already dropping Shaheds, and then doubled down with a commitment to mass production. In other words, the prototype days are over, the factory days are here. To understand how we got here, rewind to the first winters of the invasion, when Russia's Shahed playbook was to saturate the night sky until someone, somewhere, missed. Traditional air defense answered with missiles that could swat a $30,000 drone using a round that cost more than a sports car. It worked, but it was upside-down economics, the kind of exchange rate that keeps treasuries awake. Ukraine improvised, wiring up anti-drone rifles, queuing Zu-23s to thermal cameras, and sending FPV kamikazes to tackle loitering munitions mid-air. All of it good. None of it scalable enough to win the 3 AM war, been pounding Ukrainian cities for 900 nights and counting. So what exactly is an interceptor drone in this context? Picture a launch rack on a rooftop, a vehicle or a small pad. Alerts arrive from radar pickets, acoustic arrays, and spotters across the belt of defended terrain. A controller assigns a pair, lead and wing, to a detected Shahed track. The interceptors burn toward the contact, flying low to stay fast, then pop up through the Shahed's quartering angle. Guidance is a cocktail. GPS where it's safe, optical flow when it isn't. Onboard vision to hold the target in the frame when jamming turns the air to jelly. The kill can be a ram, a net entangling capture with a terminal tear, or a close-in fragmentation pop, a knife fight at 150 kilometers per hour that ends with one drone falling and the other banking home if it can. In practice, the home part doesn't always matter. The goal is brutal simplicity. Deny impact. If a Shahed never meets concrete, the defender wins. Enter the UK, which for years sat at the world's sharp end of counter-UAS tech. Lasers, RF defeat, smart nets, the whole toolbox. But now is leaning into the one thing an embattled ally needs more than clever gadgets: volume. London's pledge isn't just to help design, it's to make. Initial production lines spin up on British soil and ship east in bulk, with an eye toward expanding manufacturing footprints as the security picture allows. The emphasis is speed, weeks and days, not months, and interchangeability. Lose one on Tuesday, replace it on Thursday. Every additional rack quietly widens the umbrella over cities, power nodes, bridges, and depots. Every hour that the lights stay on is a strategic win this war has taught us how to count. And the number that keeps landing like a punch is 2,000 a month. At that scale, these aren't boutique toys, they're consumables. Smart, lethal, networked consumables, fed into a defender's nightly schedule the way artillery batteries rotate tubes. That matters because Russia has bet big on quantity. The Shahed isn't terrifying because it is exquisite. It's terrifying because there are a lot of them, and they keep coming at awkward hours, like raccoons that found your bin. The UK-Ukraine plan meets quantity with quantity, but on better terms. If an interceptor can cost a fraction of a SAM and be built by the hundreds inside a week, you've flipped the cost curve from ruinous to manageable. Even government accountants might smile, which is how you know the war math is improving. Project OCTOPUS is the emblem of that shift. British defence leaders have described the system as a small, uncrewed interceptor that has already been highly effective against Shahed-type one-way attack drones. That phrase, highly effective, doesn't get tossed around lightly in a capital that's allergic to hype. It's backed by a year of field experimentation in Ukraine's hardest lab. Real cities, real weather, real swarms. The point isn't that Octopus is magic, it's that it's optimized. Big air defense missiles are perfect for cruise missiles and high-end threats. Lasers are promising, but still scaling. Jamming is essential, but not sufficient. Octopus specializes in the worst nightly problem and leaves the rest of the orchestra free to play. There's also a diplomatic spine to the hardware. The two countries have wrapped this production surge in formal cooperation frameworks, deals that lock in technology sharing and industrial cadence, so a political gust of wind can't knock the line cold. In London's latest announcement, the UK spelled out what makes these interceptors so valuable to Ukraine. They're significantly cheaper than standard air defense missiles, yet tailored to counter the very waves of one-way attack drones Russia fires at cities. That's policy married to physics. You don't need a rapier to swat a wasp, but you do need a lot of wasp swatters. And the ambition keeps widening. In recent weeks, British and Ukrainian officials have gone further, sketching a broader, named framework for defense industrial collaboration that includes advanced interceptor drones as a flagship line item. It's a public signal that the ad hoc era is ending. Instead of begging the future to arrive, London and Kyiv are merging assembly schedules. If war is a contest of logistics, then production schedules are strategies with calendars. What does this look like at 3:40 in Kharkiv or Odessa, when the app pings and the dog barks because the humans missed the siren? Picture a layered defense that finally feels layered. Inbound tracks appear from the south, the Shaheds low and stubborn as always. Medium-range missiles hold fire, save the million-dollar arrows for missiles. Gun batteries spool just in case. EW teams switch on and start turning the ether into a maze. Above a substation, a two-pack of interceptors leaps off the rail and curves into the inbound line. They don't have to do everything. They have to ruin the Shahed's timing. First kill, a sideways smash that tears off the prop. Second, a close burst that rips the wing route. 2 impacts denied and the lights don't blink. Multiply that by a dozen cities. That's the promise on paper. Now, under Octopus, it's a promise with a supply chain. Of course, Russia adapts. It thickens escort jamming, staggers launch times, sneaks in decoys, flies lower. It will search for the interceptor's blind spot and try to fill it with shrapnel. But here's the quiet advantage of drone-on-drone defense. You can iterate as fast as the enemy mutates. Push a software patch tonight, fly it tomorrow. Add a gimbaled seeker. Swap carbon for Kevlar to survive near-miss fragments. The moral of the FPV revolution, that brains beat bulk when brains can be shipped at scale, now crosses into air defense. That's a sentence worth underlining. On the operational side, interceptor squadrons don't replace jets and Patriots, they let them breathe. When a swarm is inbound, commanders can assign interceptors to the cheap but deadly items and keep the priceless arrows for the truly hard kills. The result is a steadier defense budget per raid, fewer empty tubes when a real cruise missile shows up at sunrise, and far less nightly wear on crews and systems that can't be rebuilt in a week. That's how you stretch strength across seasons, not just nights. Widen the aperture to Europe, and another implication snaps into focus. Every Shahed that strays into NATO airspace forces a scramble, a headache, and a headline. Interceptor drones that comfortably run down slow, loud, one-way threats are not just a Ukrainian need, they're a continental insurance policy. European militaries have started to say the quiet part out loud. These interceptors have already shown they can catch Shaheds. Now the priority is to field them in numbers. Numbers used to be the other guy's advantage. Not anymore. There's a culture shift here too. Air defense used to be cathedral technology. Rare, exquisite, guarded by rituals and procurement spells. The drone war has turned it into carpentry. Cut, fit, repeat. That's not an insult, it's survival. The Octopus plan produces air defense capacity the way a shipyard frames hulls, one after another, identical enough to be replaceable, smart enough to be lethal. And when your enemy's favorite trick is being everywhere at once, replaceable and lethal is a very good combination. Let's talk costs, because wars are fought with money as surely as metal. If you can down a Shahed with a purpose-built interceptor that costs a tiny fraction of a missile, you've changed the war's economics. The UK says exactly that. These drones are considerably cheaper than standard air defense rounds, while tailored to the problem at hand. Cheap doesn't mean flimsy. It means smart where it counts and ruthless where it matters. A drone that can launch in seconds, punch above its weight, and be built again tomorrow is worth 10 silver bullets you hesitate to spend. And the best part? Moscow can't sanction Ukraine and the UK out of their own factories. This is a supply chain race Kyiv and London can actually win. Will 2,000 a month be enough? In a perfect world, sure. In this one, it's a start, and a strong one. Ukraine has set sky-high targets for interceptor output across its ecosystem, pushing to make drone defense as common as sandbags. Every British line that feeds that appetite makes the next raid less effective than the last, forcing Russia to throw more metal for less effect. That's how you drain a strategy. That's how you make a nightly terror campaign look like a very expensive way to break propellers. There's a human rhythm to this too, and it's not just the siren. It's the crews who trade sleep for safety, who learn the muscle memory of arming, launching, and recovering these air guardians night after night. It's the maintainers who get 14 minutes to fix a fault because the next wave is 18 minutes out. It's the engineers in Reading, Manchester, Kyiv, and Dnipro who tune a guidance loop while sipping cold tea at 1 AM, then watch a video the next morning of their code deciding whose lights went out and whose didn't. War has always been human. Drone war is simply human at software speed. Strategically, the UK-Ukrainian interceptor surge does three things at once. First, it protects the grid, the war's soft heart, by giving commanders a dedicated tool that meets Shaheds at their price point. Second, it hardens Europe's air shield by exporting a tactic as much as a gadget. Hunt cheap threats with cheaper, smarter hunters. Third, it lays the rails for a joint defense industry that can spin up lines for whatever tomorrow's problem is. Today, it's Shaheds. Tomorrow, it might be glide bombs or long-range loiterers with teeth. When that day comes, the answer won't start with, if only we had a factory. And yes, there's a little poetry in the name. An octopus is patient, highly intelligent, and happiest when it controls the space around it with many arms. That's exactly what an interceptor network is meant to be. Many arms, controlling the airspace over power plants, hospitals, bridges, and homes. When the enemy sends in a flock of cheap drones to peck the lights out of a country, the octopus doesn't roar back. It reaches, fast and quiet, and the pecking stops. This is how swarms are beaten, not by outspending them with gold-plated missiles, but by strangling them with good enough, fast enough, smart enough interceptors, fed by a production line that doesn't blink. The UK-Ukrainian partnership is the factory behind the facts on the ground, the place where a slogan, "Protect the Night," turns into crates, wiring looms, and rails that cough fire when the siren sounds. If Moscow's plan was to drown Ukraine in buzzing noise, London and Kyiv just turned down the volume. So the next time the app pings and a distant engine starts complaining to the darkness, remember what's now lifting off roofs and racks across a country that refuses to go dim. 2,000 times a month, give or take, a little machine points its nose at a bigger one and says, "Not tonight." The swarm is still coming, but the hunters are coming faster. And that, finally, is how the night begins to lose.